Our worst fears have begun to come true. We didn't want to spread panic, but unfortunately, the ground reality is in a dire condition when it comes to oxygen shortage. Our worst fears that we will begin to lose lives, that hospitals will not be able to treat patients, that doctors will not be able to save lives, not because COVID has become this fatal, but because we wouldn't have oxygen, something as simple as oxygen to save lives. Two different hospitals in two different cities and the same horrible tragedy. In a Delhi hospital on Friday night, 20 patients allegedly died due to lack of oxygen. In an Amritsar hospital, 6 patients lost their lives because the hospital couldn't get more oxygen. The blame games between authorities can continue. The blame games between the center and the states can continue. They can continue to give us series of excuses. They can also give us assurances about how we don't have oxygen shortage, how there is enough oxygen in the country. And all of that doesn't matter if when the oxygen is required in a hospital to save a person's life, to keep him breathing, and we don't have it, nothing else matters. In the National Capital Region, it's the biggest emergency right now. It's not to say that it's not happening in other states of Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, or even in other parts. The shortage is dire, but in NCR, the system has become such that every few hours there are a couple of hospitals raising the alarm bells publicly out of sheer desperation and lack of options. This, viewers, has become the reality right now. I don't know when and how the system will get fixed. I do know that it is broken right now. Just listen in to these comments we got from various hospitals. Most of them managed to get oxygen at some point. But it's the hourly stress. It's the hand-to-mouth setup. It's not knowing when you will get your next supply and for how long. It's not knowing how many patients can you treat and for how long. That is bothering each single one of these hospitals. Listen in.
पर पेशेंट्स 40 से 50 लीटर ऑक्सीजन 1 मिनट में देना पड़ता है, जब जाके उसका ऑक्सीजन सैचुरेशन मेंटेन होता है। पर क्योंकि ऑक्सीजन की कमी है, पूरी दिल्ली में सारे अस्पताल ऑक्सीजन की कमी से जूझ रहे हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं जो सर्विसेज हैं वो भी कंप्रोमाइज्ड हैं। और ये एक मुख्य कारण है कि बहुत ज़्यादा संख्या में जो अस्पताल में है उसमें ओवरक्राउडिंग हो रहा है, बेड नहीं मिल पा रहे हैं। हमारे बेड आज की डेट में जो भी बेड्स हैं सारे के सारे फुल हैं और कैजुअलिटी में अभी भी 35 पेशेंट वेटिंग में हैं हमारे। जैसे कोई बेड होगा हम कैजुअलिटी से उसको वार्ड में शिफ्ट करेंगे। तो ये स्थिति है। ये मैंने 30 साल के अपने करियर में कभी ऐसी विपदा या इतनी क्राइसिस नहीं देखी।
जितने भी जगह से रिपोर्ट आ रही है वो ऑक्सीजन की कमी की वजह से मरीजों की मौत हो रही है और मुझे लगता है कि इस समय सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है क्योंकि फंडामेंटल ट्रीटमेंट जो कोविड-19 के लिए उसमें ऑक्सीजन का बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट या कहिए कि मूल रूप में ऑक्सीजन ही एक प्रूवन ट्रीटमेंट है। इसके अलावा जो भी स्टेरॉइड्स, एंटीकोगुलेंट, रेमडेसिविर, इन सब की चीज़ों से भी जो फायदा होता है, बट ऑक्सीजन का मिलना बहुत ज़रूरी है। सरकार अपना प्रयत्न कर रही है कि ऑक्सीजन मिले, बट मुझे लगता है कि एक बड़ा एंटिसिपेशन फेलियर था क्योंकि मुझे ऐसा लगा कि तैयारियां बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं थी और हम स्टैटिस्टिकली एपिडेमियोलॉजिकली जान रहे थे कि सेकेंड वेव में कोरोना के नंबर ऑफ केसेस बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाएंगे।
Now the vendors are not giving directly to us, It is being regulated through government of Delhi and government of India, Government of India is directed towards Delhi and Delhi is giving to us. And it is being given in a rationalized, just like a ration, small ration. You have to determine the requirement of particular hospital, and that is how it has been done. Otherwise, in particular hospital like ours, they let them tell us that we manage only those patients which they can take care of. Then they are able to supply us oxygen. If they can supply oxygen only 50 patients, then we take only 50 patients, the rest of the patients we don't admit in the hospital. Where will those patients go? They will all die at home or on the roads.
आज ये सिचुएशन है कि देयर इज टोटल पैनिक एंड टोटल इमरजेंसी इन द हॉस्पिटल। and we are not able to sustain. And we are requesting our patients, please take your patients wherever there is a hospital oxygen available. अब जहां आपको ऑक्सीजन मिलती वहां पर आप ले जा सकते हैं पेशेंट को, क्योंकि लाइफ मतलब हम लोगों को भी लगता है भाई जो भी एडमिट होता है पेशेंट, किसी का बाप होता है, किसी का भाई होता है, किसी की बहन होती है, एंड वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड इफ आई लूज समबडी ऑफ माइंड तो नेचुरली यू फील बैड।
हम भी हमारी साइड से पूरी कोशिश कर रहे हैं, हमारे जितने भी रिसोर्सेज है वहाँ पे हमारी हॉस्पिटल की जो भी गाड़ी एम्बुलेंस सब दौड़ा रखी है हमने, सब एजेंसीज, गवर्नमेंट एजेंसीज और प्राइवेट एजेंसी सबसे हमने कांटेक्ट किया हुआ है। और अभी हमारे पास अभी तक लेकिन बैकअप आया नहीं है। हमें हमारा जो ये बड़े हॉस्पिटल होते हैं वहाँ पे लिक्विड मेडिकल ऑक्सीजन चाहिए होता है, उससे हमारा सिस्टम रन होता है। सिलेंडर्स जो होते हैं ज़्यादातर छोटे हॉस्पिटल में यूज़ होते हैं। सिलेंडर का जो बैकअप होता है ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 30 मिनट से लेके 1 घंटे तक का ही होता है, अगर ज़्यादा सिलेंडर्स है तो भी। तो अभी क्राइसिस है हमारे पास, अगर ये ऑक्सीजन हमें नहीं मिल पाया तो बहुत बड़ा डिज़ास्टर यहाँ पे भी हो सकता है।
Let me say good evening to Dr. Suranjit Chatterjee, Senior Consultant in Internal Medicine at Indraprastha Apollo Hospital, Dr. Yatin Mehta, Chairman for Medanta Institute of Critical Care, Charu Pragya of the BJP, and Preeti Sharma Menon of the Aam Aadmi Party. Let me start off with Dr. Yatin Mehta. Dr. Mehta, what is the situation right now, and really how are hospitals managing their supply? What's the process they're following?
See, we are all managing, and we are all hand to mouth, and it's a day-to-day supply. You do not know what is going to happen tomorrow. At Medanta, we have more than 300 patients of COVID, and most of these COVID patients are dependent on very high oxygen flow, much more than other patients in the intensive care unit, and that makes them completely vulnerable. I mean, if the supply is cut down or the ventilators will not function, and many of these patients will die. I'm sorry to learn about the deaths in Jaipur Golden Hospital. And I think this is a shame on all of us. Why should people in India, which is a developing fast country, people die of the basic thing like oxygen? We were doing so well after the first wave, and we should put all our acts together, put politics aside, and just get on with it. I mean, there is no enough oxygen is being produced in India. If the transport is a problem, that should be solved pretty soon. Government is trying to do it now. So let's open up all borders. Let's use the Pandemic Act and get our act together. This is a shameful thing. We have all worked so hard as doctors to save so many lives over the last 1 year. And now we are totally helpless. Our hands are tied. And what will we do if a patient starts dying because of lack of oxygen? And if you tell the patients, like one of the doctors said, we'll tell them to go away somewhere, no one is going to leave, because how will they find oxygen outside? If big hospitals cannot find oxygen, how are the patients going to find oxygen for themselves? And how will they manage their ventilation at home?
Absolutely.
These are very sick patients. We cannot let this happen to our country and to us.
Absolutely. Dr. Chatterjee, you know, in your hospitals and those around you, is this a similar situation? And are you now re-looking at taking on more patients, or even asking the current ones to go and find oxygen wherever they can? We've heard certain hospitals have been forced to take this action.
No, we are in our hospital haven't done that as yet, but yes, we are being told every time by the administration that the oxygen is in short supply, and we have to be very, very careful. What we are doing is basically we are rationalizing oxygen so that we can supply it to as many people as possible. I just finished my rounds of the ward, and there are most of the patients are on most of the patients are on very high flow oxygen. Actually, there is requirement of more ICU, semi-ICU beds. There is requirement for oxygen. And this time, unfortunately, the requirement of oxygen in most of the patients is pretty high, whosoever is getting admitted. We till now have been able to manage. We have been told to rationalize oxygen use, which we are doing. We have to do it to some extent, but it is really a bad time for us, for all of us, and I would really echo the thoughts of Dr. Yatin Mehta.
Yes, in fact, you know, even just a short while ago, one of the hospitals that saw a massive tragedy in terms of losing lives has again put out this message saying in Jaipur Golden Hospital that next impending oxygen crisis is in Jaipur Golden Hospital. Over 200 lives are at stake if liquid medical oxygen is not supplied by 9 p.m. tonight. Earlier, remember, 20 COVID patients here died amid oxygen shortage in the hospital. Now, this is the biggest problem right now, Preeti. Why are we not able to still put in a system in place where whatever supply is coming through is reaching the places which are in dire need?
And it is a bad time for India. And sadly, we've lost so many lives. The system is in place. It has allocated oxygen supply, which is coming in proportion to the number of beds that are occupied with COVID patients. Sadly, even though Mr. Harshvardhan came on television and he laughed and he said we are giving Delhi more than what is Delhi asking for, we only got 308 metric tons yesterday when we were promised 480. So we begged the Prime Minister and we are begging them again that please take all supply of oxygen into your hands, put the paramilitary if necessary, but ensure that the oxygen reaches all the cities, all the states that are in dire straits right now. It's not just us. Today, a BJP MP was threatening to sit in Dharna in Lucknow because the hospital there was running out of oxygen. So it is a national crisis. And yesterday also we begged the Prime Minister and we are again repeatedly begging them that this is the time to call the military in. This is a very big emergency. People are dying.
Preeti, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there and we will try and fix your audio line because there is quite a bit of disturbance which is making it difficult for us to understand what you're saying very easily. So give me some time to fix that and come back to you. Charupragya, I'm going to come to you at this point. And I don't want this to become a political battle, but now we are at this stage and unfortunately we are still just seeing Delhi and Centre fighting and pointing fingers. I mean, today in the court, the Delhi government lawyer was told to not be a crybaby about it. Now, where are we headed and when will we stop this?
Tanvi, you're right. It's not a time to politicize. It's a time to pitch in and help the citizens of Delhi because honestly, it's crumbling. And we are all working night and day to provide a little bit of relief wherever possible. But you have to understand that relief is only possible when resources are available. There is no relief without resources. And I do not understand why, when these resources have been allocated by the central government to the state of Delhi, why have they not been utilized? And I'm sorry, I am speaking out of sheer frustration because I'm a citizen of Delhi. Number one, in December 2001 crores from PM CARE funds was allotted to the state of Delhi to set up 8 oxygen generating plants. Permit has only been given for 1 and even that is not operational. The other 7, God knows what Arvind Kejriwal ji has done with them. Point number 2, oxygen quota. More than what was asked for has been allotted by the central government. But do you need hand-holding with everything, Kejriwal ji? You have been an administrator. You know how things work. Why did you not ensure that you hired the trucks that were requisite and got that oxygen to the city of Delhi? Point number 3, you were the one who was encouraging the farmer protest for all this time. In December, you had the money. You should have focused on oxygen and capacity building. What were you doing? Helping the farmer protest. Today, it is that same protest which is actually deviating the time taken for oxygen to reach the city of Delhi. Point number 4, even right now, this is a blame game. Letter writing is happening. Kindly stop that. Please understand that Bhagwan bhi aapki madad nahi kar sakta agar aap apni madad nahi karna chahte hain to. I have nothing else to say. I am beyond frustrated with the way the government of Delhi has been functioning. I am feeling hopeless. Yet I understand that if we give up now, we've given up forever. So I just hope there is light at the end of the tunnel. And Preeti, every single statement made by you.
No, okay.
Shame on you to do this today. Shame on you to put.
Shockingly, this lady can lie on national television. It is appalling. Can I come in here, please? It is appalling what she's saying. I only heard part of what she's saying, but I am shocked at the level of lies.
Okay, so hang on a minute.
So can I come
1 minute, please. No, I don't want this kind of name calling and this kind of language being used. Calm down, please. This is a very serious situation. It's extremely grim. Doctors are helpless and frustrated and angry, and people are dying. Now, listen, Preeti, let me just update you on what you may not have heard. Here are the points that have been made by the BJP. You were told and you were given the permission to set up 8 oxygen plants. Only one process has even begun. Rest 7, we don't even know what has happened. What happened to your own capacity building? What happened to the organization of trucks and building up your resources? Last year, Arvind Kejriwal was promising home delivery of oxygen. Now we've come to a point where we don't even have the infrastructure to deliver it to hospitals. Go ahead, Preeti.
Yes, please. That point is absolutely false. I am so shocked and livid that the lady can lie so much on national television. There were 8 centers to be built by the central government. Please do not interrupt. I did not interrupt you. 8 centers were to be built by the central government under money which was allocated from the PM CARE fund. They were a part of 180 oxygen plants set up in India, out of which 8 were allocated for Delhi. Delhi government was asked in September, October for land for that those 8 plants. We gave the land. The contract was tendered by the central government. The contract was given by the central government. Their contractor ran away. Only one plant was built and the others were not. All these 140 plants were to be built by the central government from the funds allocated from the PR CARE fund. Do you note that they did even the tendering process by months? They got money in March in the PM CARE funds and they said they're going to build oxygen plants, and they tendered it only in October. This was entirely a project which they said they are doing. Delhi government only needs to give land, and we have been waiting for those 8 power plants.
Okay.
The Delhi distribution system is absolutely in place, but if the supply is not coming, ma'am, how can we distribute? We got 308. Mr. Harshvardhan.
Okay, so let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. Let's separate this blame game. We will leave this blame game for the ministers and the chief ministers to make in front of the cameras. Allow me, ladies. Okay, yes. So let's leave the blame game, because that's what you can do on all the other platforms, including in front of the High Court judges. Now here I want to ask one simple question. This is basis our own interactions with multiple hospitals through the last 2 days. The hospitals are telling me, Preeti, that half the time even your helplines are not functional. The war rooms that have been set up, the phone lines that have been put in place, either they are busy or nobody is answering, or it's not reaching on time. Now that last mile delivery is still the responsibility of the Delhi government.
Absolutely it is. In fact, if you had seen Mr. Manish Sisodia's Twitter, all night yesterday the war room was on. It is overwhelmed with the requirements. We do not have supplies to give them. We are liaising with the oxygen depots in Uttar Pradesh and in Haryana, which earlier blocked supply. And the Delhi High Court has said that anybody who blocks supplies, they are willing to hang them. And I hope that those actions are taken against people in UP, in Haryana, and the bureaucrats and the police officers of those 2 states who stop supply. We are also awaiting supply from Odisha and Bengal, which is supposed to reach on those trains which have not yet reached Delhi. So the supply that has to come to us is what we are trying to coordinate very desperately. We got 308 metric tons yesterday. Our requirement, our allotment is 480. We've asked for 700. We've been allotted 480. We are grateful for that allotment, but it hasn't reached us. This is the time when the central government has to declare a national
emergency. May I just
to take charge of distribution of oxygen across the country. You have a UP
okay.
BJP.
I agree. There needs to be a centralized process. The downside of a centralized process is that the governments again start complaining that it's a biased process and half the states are getting it, half are not. It's all over the place, that is for sure. I'm constantly trying to figure out a way to understand how this process is working. And over the last 3 days, all my questions across categories to participants have shown me that there isn't a working system, which is why it's so chaotic. If I may just go back to our panelists right now and to Dr. Mehta. Dr. Mehta, to your mind, what would be a better way to work? Where is the biggest hurdle? Is it the state borders? Is it that we are allocating it from the wrong locations which are too far off, or that there isn't a proper coordination and communication line?
You can see the lack of coordination just now by the 2 panelists from 2 opposing parties who are responsible for delivery of oxygen to the patients. You are seeing how they are working together. I mean, this is absolutely utter nonsense. Post-mortem of a patient is done after the patient is dead. Patient is not dead as yet. And they've already begun the post-mortem. That who's responsible for the death of the patient? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. If you look at all Western civilizations, there are two basic differences between our governments and those governments. One is when it comes to national security. And two, when it comes to disaster management. They all are together. I've lived in West for many years, and this is how opposition parties, everybody comes together, and they will dissect it afterwards. The blame game will begin afterwards. But let us put our hands together. The supply is already being distributed by the central government. High Court's intervention or whichever Supreme Court's intervention, the central government has opened up all the borders, so free movement is allowed. Green corridors are also opened up, and therefore transport of oxygen from in the country should not be that much of a problem. Distribution of oxygen within your state or within your city is the responsibility of the state government. So please stop going on the Twitter. I've just come back from the hospital. I'm going back again. We are working hands down. We are not sitting on laptop and just sending Twitter messages. So please, everybody should put their act together and stop blaming each other. Elections are very far away in Delhi. And please save the lives of these patients who are miserably going to die because of lack of oxygen.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Dr. Chatterjee, would you like to add to that on what is needed on an urgent war footing basis right now? War rooms are set, helplines are set, so several decisions taken even by the center, but we don't seem to be getting any kind of relief, any difference either on ground. I mean, hospitals are taking to social media to ring the alarm bells because they've run out of options.
See, all these things have to become functional. Only things are happening on paper. Nothing is happening at the ground level. They have to all start happening at the ground level, otherwise we will lose our precious patients in this hospital. It is very distressing to see patients who are in so much of respiratory distress not getting oxygen. Luckily, till now, our hospital has been able to afford that, but if it happens in the next couple of hours, it is going to be a disaster for all the people. Most of the people in the hospital this time are requiring much more higher flow oxygen. We have to be careful. The two governments have to really act in tandem. Otherwise, it's not far off that we will lose lots of citizens of this country, and there's going to be a dire situation in this country.
All right, I am completely out of time, but Charu Pragya, I'm going to give you 30 more seconds, and really I want you to talk about the need for a centralized system that identifies where the oxygen is, where the need is, and the fastest possible transport available to get it there.
Tanvi, when the center controls everything, they are said that we are too centralized. When the center allows the states to decide, the states have a problem. This is not a time to write letters to each other. This is a time to find a solution. I request everybody, please get onto the phone. And the senior doctor from Medanta, sir, I understand your frustration. We are not doctors, but we are also working at the front line. And the frustration is shared. Trust me, when you're working night and day to ensure a bed to a patient and yet you lose that patient, there is no getting over it, and probably no getting over it for the rest of our lives. But at this point of time, I request Delhi government to arrange for those tankers. It has taken you 3 days and you've still not located tankers to get oxygen to the city of Delhi. Please do that. I'm requesting the Chief Minister to help our city.
Well, the Chief Minister has written to other states, and I'm hoping, states like Odisha and Tamil Nadu respond on a very quick basis. The question again will be how to get the oxygen from the east to the national capital, or if there are other places in the surrounding states and neighboring states, then that needs to be done on a faster basis. At the end of the day, it cannot be about blame game right now. This needs to be done in a united manner. Expert after expert, whether there are management, administrative experts, whether there are medical community, doctors, hospital managements, they're all telling us the same thing. The first step in tackling this crisis will be the unity amongst our governments and within our departments, and not grandstanding, not scoring points over each other with tweets and messages and bites, but actually getting down to business. Let alone the fact that you all collectively failed to do your job in the last 1 year. You put us in a lockdown because you were supposed to create healthcare infrastructure. For months you brought the country to a standstill because you were supposed to work on this exact plan. You became the complacent. You led us into believing that the COVID was gone and that nothing was wrong anymore. We could go back to our lives. You were caught unawares. You had zero planning in the last 6 months where you could have done so much. Collectively, each government, right from the district level, each authority up to the central level, has failed us and brought us to this point. Least they can do is get their act together right now and spare us the politics, all false assurances. Thank you for joining us on this conversation.